What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the casting of Frank Stone. Look, I sent out a tweet earlier today, and I said, not a very busy day, was it? I didn't know that there was a gameplay trailer for a game that I'm pretty interested in. I want to give a shot, and from a developer that we've talked quite a bit about on this channel through the Dark Pictures, and of course, their originating spot for me, Until Dawn. So, we got a gameplay trailer, and I will say, the only negative I have to say is I don't know why it's called a gameplay trailer. I guess you could argue what else would they call it. Not a whole lot of gameplay, but there's two things I want to talk about in regards to the trailer. And overall, I think it's a great trailer, okay? I want to talk about the premise and the setup, which I think they did a really great job with. And then I want to talk about kind of the fluidity of it, because although, again, I don't know how I would have called it a gameplay trailer. It didn't really have much gameplay. I think it did accomplish a few things, and I overall think it looks really good. So, let's start with kind of the setup and just, overall the visual style. Loving it. Honestly, when you look at the title and you see the casting of Frank Stone, like, what does that mean? You might think of, like, film and that kind of, like, a side, maybe of Hollywood, right? But you don't know for sure, and we haven't gotten too many details on this game in the first place, so it's like, okay, we're just kind of waiting to fill in the blank of why is it called that? Well, we got, and again, I think the best thing that this trailer does is actually give you the setup, actually show you, okay, here's where it's taking place, here's some of the characters, here's kind of the situation. I think it has a spooky side of things, but I think it conveys this, hey, this group of people are kind of going off the beaten road. Although I didn't watch the movie X, and hopefully that's actually the right movie with Jenna Ortega and all them. I didn't watch that, but like I've seen trailers and I've seen reviews of it. It reminds me a little bit of the setup, right? Where it's like this almost mediocre film crew. They're going to a place that they shouldn't be, and then bad things are going to happen. Kind of and I don't know if like it's only giving me that vibe. Maybe it's giving other people that vibe. You can let me know in the comments, but I really like that. I think maybe I'm a sucker for the kind of like, hey, you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing in a place that you shouldn't be, and bad things are going to happen. So, and I think just the idea of like, hey, who's the stars, and hey, you can't film here, I think that's a really cool premise. So I think the setup, which we really haven't gotten other than like the setup so far, the idea of this game so far is it's something related to Dead by Daylight. And this is actually a good time to talk about it. I would not consider myself a big Dead by Daylight fan right now, but years ago, I'm talking maybe, and I mean for as long as the game's been out, probably 6 to 7 years ago, I think actually when it first kind of made its way to console, I played this game like no other. I mean, this is maybe a game that I have hundreds of hours, which I normally don't do that, especially for more like live service-y games. I think it was an incredible game. It means a lot to me. It always will. But I have fallen out of it, I guess, over the last several years. But I will say, I think what this trailer does really well is allows fans to maybe be able to delve kind of deeper into it. But because of like, again, like the film perspective and almost like an indie kind of movie, but as a game, right? By doing that, you can have the diehards go crazy, and you can also have the people that are like, well, I played Dead by Daylight once, and honestly, like, that is not a bad thing to do, and that's not a bad group to kind of go for, right? Dead by Daylight, number one, it's a popular game, but it's been popular in, like, different, actually kind of has always been popular, but people, I'm sure, have gone in and out, and I'm sure you can find people that said, hey, yeah, I played it 5 years ago, or me, I played it 7 years ago, I played it 2 years ago, maybe they're still in it, maybe they're not, but I feel like the game, because it's still a horror game, is it still a super massive game, I think it can appeal to both sides, which the other games of theirs, you can't really say. Now, you don't necessarily need it, but I think having that IP is an extra benefit where you have it. You have that extra layer of like the fandom that you wouldn't have for the next game in the Dark Pictures anthology, okay? The second thing I want to talk about that might just be specific to me. See, a thing with me with Supermassive games is I give tough love, okay? Until Dawn is one of my favorite games of all time. I've said that numerous times. And the Dark Pictures anthology has been all over the place. I mean, I've given credit where credit's due. I think House of Ashes is the best game that they've made in that, anthology. But I think they've made some really bad ones too, or maybe ones that don't hold up as well. So I tend to be pretty aggressive with them because I know they're capable of amazing things. I have a lot of respect for them, and I just want them to nail it, basically. So I just want to kind of make that known because of what I'm about to say. The trailer actually, to me, proved there's a little bit of fluidity, as I said in the beginning of this video. You could sense it. Now, although, again, like, you're not seeing the quick time events, you're not seeing, like, where one decision is going to, like, ripple effect, right, and affect everything else, one thing I do think you saw quite a bit in this trailer is actual scenes, right? So while I don't know if I'd call it gameplay, you literally, well, you see the game actually playing on screen. So maybe in a sense that's why they called it that. But you know what I mean? I feel like the faces. We've long talked about the faces for Supermassive Games. It was getting to a point where it needed a change. In fact, I think the entire graphical system needs a change. If you look at Until Dawn and you look at like Man of Medan and then you keep going, there has not been enough innovation and push, even, I mean, actually in quite a few places, but also just the technology. I think it's been rather stagnant, and it's probably because they make like a game a year and they don't really have time to innovate. They're just working on the next game, right? So I will absolutely give them credit, at least so far, and at least in a 2-minute trailer, the game looks good. And it's not, and I say that, I'm not a graphics guy. Like, I just played Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2 from 2003, okay? I don't care, and I'm playing Infamous from 2009. I don't care necessarily how it looks, but, okay, it comes out in 2024. It should look a certain way. But I'm more picky, I guess, about what I think they've lacked in terms of that technology, whether it's the faces, whether it's just the movements, whether it's the mouths, or, whatever it might be. The trailer showed quite a bit, and I was actually very impressed. I think it overall looks better, as it should, but it does look a bit more fluid, which I think is what's been lacking in the last several games. Is that a make or break? Not necessarily, but it definitely helps or hurts. Like, I think it hurt the devil in me. I think a lot of things hurt the devil in me, and that being one of them, right? I don't know if it sunk the game on its own, but it would be nice to not have it, is all I'm saying, okay? So I think they did a really good job there. So I'm excited. I mean, I don't forget about this game, but at the same time, I kind of do. Like, it's always somewhere in my head, but I mean, to come out in 2024, that's great. They still are going off of that, right? We don't have a release date, but at the very end of the trailer, they do say, you can still wish list it, and it's still coming out in 2024. So hopefully, I imagine we get a date at Summer Games Fest. I think it shows up there. Maybe Gamescom, which is also a Jeff Keighley show, right? I think within the next couple months, we'll get the date, and it can kind of come out anywhere. Like, they've had multiple games, I think, come out in August. I don't think they've ever had a July, so like you could probably rule that one out. But even going back, Until Dawn was actually August, so August makes a lot of sense to me. October, they've had a couple games in October to kind of, I think, capitalize off the horror thing, but probably somewhere in that range of late August. And then I guess maybe end of October. If it comes out maybe in November. No, I mean, it can come out whenever. And I think by having Dead by Daylight, that kind of helps it. But I would imagine it's in that range. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel. Bell icon's turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.